What's up, guys? So if you're someone who's been working in Louisville or Kentucky and somewhere and you're thinking about moving to the Indiana side, one of the most important things to think about is that commute. We're getting these same questions coming more and more often. More people are coming from Kentucky because of the affordable housing in Indiana, and it's a really good place to live. So if you're thinking about moving over here and commuting over there, we just wanted to talk about what are some options and what do those commutes look like. So the first thing when you're thinking about living in Indiana and working in Kentucky, obviously you got to get across the river. So there's kind of three pinch points that I would say to get you across there, to get the bridge across. So you got the east end, which is the east end of Louisville, east end of Jeffersonville area. It's 265 runs across there. Then you got the two bridges in downtown Louisville, which are the 2nd Street Bridge and the Lincoln Bridge. And then you've got out in New Albany, the Sherman-Minton Bridge. So those are kind of your three options for getting across the river. So we're gonna break these down for your options there as far as which bridge you're gonna go over. So we'll start off on the east end. If you're working in the east end of Louisville, this is probably your best option, or anywhere further out than the east end of Louisville. So obviously you'd be taking the new East End Bridge to get across there. So we're gonna just look at a couple of the neighborhoods that are right kind of at the base of the East End Bridge, and all of these are within a couple miles of each other. So we're gonna look at Crystal Springs subdivision as a prime example of this. It's right off the roundabout. It's only a couple miles from the river to get to the exit there. So if I'm looking here, I'm gonna get directions from Chapel Lake Park, which is in Crystal Springs subdivision. This is close to Steeplechase, Old Stoner, Red Tail Ridge, Creekstone Ridge. I mean, there's tons of places to live. They're really nice neighborhoods, great price points, but all of them are close to where we're gonna talk, get directions from here. So Chapel Lake Park, we're looking at this map here. You can see just off 265. Here's your bridge. Here's 265. You'd be coming down to this exit here. So let's do directions. So directions from Chapel Lake Park, and I'm gonna do this to Middletown, because that's probably a good example of like an East End area that's gonna, so 25-minute commute. You're gonna jump on 265, go across the bridge over, and you're just gonna hit 265 all the way out to Middletown. So that gets you close to, Shelbyville Road, Anchorage. Prospect is even shorter than that. You can jump on 64 or 71 and go out further east if that's where you're at, but you're talking 25 minutes to there. So that gets you to a lot of really good housing right on the east end of Jeff. So now let's say that you're somebody who wants to maybe live a little further out. Maybe you want some more space and you want more country living. For that, I would suggest, and you can go a couple different directions, but you can go out towards Charlestown in that area. This is a heavily growing place. We got River Ridge Commerce Center in there that's growing like crazy. Population growth is through the roof right now, so good place to live. So we're gonna come out here farther to the Charlestown area. One of the areas I really like out here is called Bethany Road. So let's get directions from the first one that pops up is 7918 Bethany Road. So that only extends your drive by 5 minutes. So you're talking 30 minutes, takes you back to the same place. It's gonna take you back to the roundabout in Jeffersonville, or actually I'm incorrect about that. It's gonna take you to the new River Ridge exit that is even closer to the bridge there. I just screwed something up there on my directions. But 30-minute commute, in that case, like I said, you can find property out in that direction, get yourself a little bit more space. So that's kind of breaks down the East End Bridge if you're gonna work on the East End of Louisville. And all of these are obviously options to anywhere, but if you are going to work more in the downtown Louisville area, obviously that brings you to a couple options here. You could take the 2nd Street Bridge or the Lincoln Bridge. You could also take the Sherman-Minton and come 64, so that opens up your options a little bit. So how quick is that commute from, say, downtown Jeffersonville? Let's say you wanted to live in the Harbors, which is a condominium complex. It's really nice right on the river. You can see a picture here. Let's see, maybe we can go to satellite view here to kind of show you awesome views of downtown Louisville from the Harbors. So what's the commute from the Harbors to the Yum Center? Let's say that gets you right in the middle of downtown Louisville. So switch this around. Let's type Yum Center. 4 minutes. Can't do that, you got an issue. There's barely even a commute. So live in Jeffersonville. It's going to be a lot cheaper than living in downtown Louisville. Great area. By the way, there's a ton of stuff to do right in this vicinity in downtown Jeff as well. I mean, there's restaurants, bars, parks, anything you can think of. So great place to live. You're walking distance to tons of places to eat and hang out, but also a 4-minute drive across the 2nd Street Bridge, which by the way does not have a toll. Pro tip. 2nd Street Bridge and Sherman Minton Bridge are the 2 of these 4 bridges that do not have tolls. So this is a toll-free, and I can tell you from experience, my wife has worked across in Louisville for a long time. She takes the 2nd Street Bridge every day, and traffic is actually pretty light down through there, so it's really not bad taking the 2nd Street Bridge across. Okay, so that's kind of a downtown living experience to come across to Louisville. So let's say same thing is out in the East End. Let's say you wanted to get out in the country a little more. So I'm going to take you straight up 65, and let's go to the Memphis area. So there's a really nice neighborhood in the Memphis area called Champions Point. So I'm just gonna, this is a golf course subdivision, so I'm just gonna take directions from Champions Point Golf Course to the Yum Center. So we are 23 minutes to the Yum Center from Champions Point Golf Course. So even closer than the East End Bridge out there. Champions Point, again, awesome neighborhood. Top tier golf course that was built by Fuzzy Zeller. Houses in this neighborhood range from anywhere, probably starting in your mid 300s on up to $600,000-$700,000. So really nice houses, really nice golf course. There are plenty of other options here out in this direction too, smaller neighborhoods that are a little better price points even. But again, to get you out in the country a little more. And just for kicks, wanted to take it out a little bit further even, and let's go to Henryville. Henryville is going to be more along the lines of like Charlestown. It gives you a little more space. There's more property out there. So if you want some acreage and all that, Henryville's probably even a better location for that. So from Henryville, Indiana to the Yum Center, you're looking at 21 minutes. It's actually even closer technically because Champions Point's off the highway a little bit versus Henryville's right on it. Now obviously Henryville spans out, so you can add maybe 5-10 minutes at most to get to where you actually want to buy property. But again, another good option. So that's downtown Louisville to the Jeffersonville area. So that covers our Easton Bridge, that covers our downtown bridges. Now we're going to go out to the Sherman Minton Bridge, which if you live in our area, you know how the Sherman Minton Bridge has been lately, which is not great. They've been doing a lot of work to it. There's been a lot of traffic in this area. So it's something to think about right now, but you know, fingers crossed eventually they'll be done working on that. So this will get better. So the Sherman Minton Bridge is out here. It kind of looks like it's out here a little ways, but really just a skip across the Sherman Minton Bridge and then run down 64, get you back to downtown Louisville pretty quickly. So quickest, the shortest commute from this angle would obviously be to live in downtown New Albany. So let's see if I search New Albany, Indiana, where's that gonna? Yeah, so that's just taking me from straight downtown New Albany. So downtown New Albany to downtown Louisville is only an 11-minute commute. Once again, this just depends on traffic and stuff. Sherman Minton has been a little bit worse, but you are pretty close. Downtown New Albany is just like downtown Jeff, like I was saying over here. If you tons of stuff to do down here, great restaurants. These areas have really been revitalized in the last 5 to 10 years. So good places to live. If you're a young professional or something and you maybe don't want to spend the money to be in downtown Louisville, but you want to be someplace that's convenient to go out, go to bars, things like that, downtown New Albany or downtown Jeff are really good places for you, and they're real short commutes into work in Louisville. So that's your downtown area. So now let's say you want to go out a little bit further and you want a little more space, but we want to go out the 64 side this time. This is another option. So one of the best options I would give you out in that area is Lanesville and Cordon area are really good open places. So you are 23 minutes, actually shorter than I would have thought. From Lanesville to downtown Louisville is only a 23-minute drive. So just kind of showing you guys here, we are close to a really big kind of business area, you know, tons of stuff to do. Obviously Louisville is a huge city, so but there's tons of places to live that are only within 25 to 30 minutes of downtown Louisville. And you can come to the Indiana side and enjoy some of the cheaper property, some of the, you know, just a little bit more relaxed environment. So there's something to think about. I hope this was helpful.